Right, hello. Live stream today. Apologies, there wasn't one yesterday, but I ended up being really tired yesterday as I stayed up for a lot of the presidential election. Tuesday night, was it? Yeah, Tuesday night. Didn't find out at 4 o'clock in the morning who'd won Tuesday night, even though it looked to be going in Trump's favor. Got up very early to find out what was going on yesterday, only to find out it was basically a drawn election and that both sides were saying they'd won, and it being a load of bullshit, basically. So, good evening to everybody. So, regarding my Trump bet, Paddy Power at least were offering me quite a bit back from it if I wanted to accept it. So I just accepted the money back, to be honest, because I thought I think Trump's going to lose, in all honesty now. Yeah, I wouldn't want to hang over to start lockdown, Marcus. Although I went and bought a load of booze today just because I thought if I'm going to be locked down, I want something to drink. I don't really see how. Yeah, might as well shed on fire. The thing is, I can't really see how Trump can win it. I know he can take it to the Supreme Court and that, but I mean, this whole thing's really dodgy because from how it looked when I went to bed on Tuesday night or Wednesday morning, technically, I thought Trump had won it, in all honesty. It seemed like, everybody said they were going to vote for Biden, but they were actually voting for Trump. Yeah, I do know unknown Russian, but the thing is, with the amount of seats, doesn't Biden literally need to win one more state and he's got it, whereas Trump would need to win like 4? And, like I said, it's hard to say, isn't it? I mean, maybe there is some electoral fraud going on, but, because I'm not an American, I've just thought, fuck it. If I could take my money, I didn't lose anything, I'll take my money back, and see how it goes. Yeah, this wasn't a politics stream, it was just bringing it up, Marcus, because our last stream we did was the electoral stream, and then it turned out to be not very decisive. I don't know how often it is that 2 days later you still don't know the result of the American election. From what I understand, Caleb, I think he has to take it to a low-level court, doesn't he? Assuming he loses that, he takes it to the next court and he keeps escalating it. I know it's in Trump's favor on the Supreme Court because of the amount of Republican compared to Democrat, like justices or whatever they call them on it. But, oh, what a nightmare, Weirdly, baboon hunting. I've got a boss at work that says I look like Charles Bronson. I assume he means the actor, not the prisoner, Charles Bronson, even though I know both is. But we generally quote lines of Death Wish at work. But you brought too many. Well, the one I like is in Death Wish 2, where he kills that guy, who's wearing a cross, and he goes, "You believe in Jesus?" And the guy's like, yeah, man, don't kill me. He's like, "You're gonna meet him." Yeah, you got to love or a bit of Mr. Bean, Jack. Yeah, you gotta love Charles Bronson. Any good Bronson film recommendations while I'm stuck in lockdown? Obviously, I'm very familiar with Death Wish, Once Upon a Time in the West, and a lot of other famous Bronson ones. But if you want to give me some good recommendations for some Bronson films, I'd like to listen. Vice City's a great game, Flazzy, especially for the soundtrack. Just going to warn people that if they start spamming the chat, they're going to get blocked just because of the fact they're spamming the chat. Oh, there we go. They're gone before I even had to say it. Civil Unrest movie, Salty Tide. Let's have a think. The Crazies is good. That's about a pandemic that makes people go crazy, so then the army go in and start shooting people and people start fighting back. That's a good one. Might seem a bit relevant to what's going on at the moment. Yeah, I haven't seen Great Escape in ages, actually, CJ saying that. Maybe I'll rewatch The Great Escape. I've obviously seen it a few times before, but I've not watched it in yonks. My S6 is still fine, JJ, but saying that, my S6 is a later produced one than one of my S10s. It was like an 87 S6. So I think it would depend on which year it was produced and which factory. I've definitely seen the Evil Dead films, Peach. I've not got round yet to watching the Ash vs. Evil Dead series, but I've seen Evil Dead 1, 2, Army of Darkness, and the remake of Evil Dead, and the remake's surprisingly good, because it doesn't try to exactly copy the original, which is why it works. Well, I've been streaming before lockdown started, so I'll be streaming when lockdown ends as well. Yeah, Dead Man's Shoes is good. Weirdly spooky. That's got one of the actors in it from Inbred, which I didn't realise until I was looking up their IMDb. And I was like, of course it was. Yeah, he's got a GP5 out the filter on, hasn't he, in Inbred? I mean, it's going to depend, I think, with lockdowns on different states and who's president, I think, for the US. Because doesn't Biden want to lock down where Trump's against lockdowns? Again, there's so many things like that, isn't there, where, as in the LBM respirator Nugget Supreme, I've never seen one for sale. I imagine hundreds of dollars. I'll have to watch that Russian restart. I know Andersonville was a horrible place, wasn't it, where loads of prisoners were starved to death. A bit like Point Lookout. Obviously, Point Lookout was the big Union one. Andersonville was the big Confederate one, wasn't it? It wasn't good to be a prisoner in either of those. Good books about gas masks. Right, there was one I used to have sitting on the stool over there that I would hold up to show you, which was a guide to World War I and World War II British respirators. Other than that, I think there was meant to be a book coming out that was like an encyclopedia or the history of respirators that looked good. I can't remember who it was by, and I didn't pick it up. But let me see if I can find the book that was the one I'm thinking of. Right, this is the book I'm thinking of. This is quite good, if you want one as a reference to World War I and World War II British masks. But for the most part, I don't have many books on respirators. Like, I've got a couple of books that have a couple of pages on, like, infantry equipment on, like, military respirators. But for the most part, there aren't that many specialised books on them, in all honesty. Yeah, Caleb, what, taking a shit in your NBC suit? With a guy in an S6 and a Mark III, I believe. Or is it an S10 and a Mark IV? I can't remember. But it's in Survive to Fight, isn't it? So is purple worse than red, Diego? I don't know how the US colour system works for it, but the UK has gone into its second national lockdown as of today. Yesterday, I drove one of my friends to live with his girlfriend for a month because people are going to be pretty much stuck in their houses. So obviously, he wanted to live with his girlfriend for obvious reason, not his parents. And yeah, it was kind of crazy the amount of people just blocking the roads last night because they were trying to get, really quickly to places before the lockdown began. There's a lot of trolls on tonight, isn't there? Or just very strange people. Just for the mods, if anybody starts spamming the chat tonight, just give them an instant block unless they're a member, just because it seems like there's a raid going on, I guess. Yeah, Flazzy, it's really hard to know, isn't it? Like I said, I had a bet on Trump, and then when Paddy Power gave me the option of basically taking my money back from it, considering how it's going to drag on, I thought, fuck it, I'll just have my money back. I don't want to wait days to find out if I've made my money or lost it. I would recommend it, Salty Tide, due to coronavirus, wearing a gas mask. You can always choose not to, but if you're being told you have to wear a mask in public, at least wear a mask that protects you. But yeah, it's pretty crazy time at the moment, isn't it? So UK is going into its second lockdown. Lots of other European countries have gone into lockdown. The US election has literally stalemated. What a time to be alive. 2020 couldn't get more fun. We've still got a month and a bit to go. Today's Guy Fawkes night or bonfire night in the UK. Haven't heard many fireworks today. There was quite a lot yesterday. Yeah, exactly, Dwarven Miner. I was a bit annoyed with Paddy Power. I didn't actually withdraw my Trump bet first thing Wednesday morning, because if I took my bet off first thing Wednesday morning, I think I'd have made 20 quid on that bet. But I thought I'd leave it, and then, I just took it when it was about the same money as I put in, but... That's strange, Mike. Yeah, there was a lot of fireworks yesterday, but for whatever reason today I've not heard many. Yeah, maybe it's just in my area everybody decided to use them on the 4th, not the 5th. Who knows? What's a 1994 GOST filter? It depends on which country used it. Because Poland and I think the Czech Republic were using fairly safe filters by the mid-90s, but the Russians still weren't. In America, spooky, I think pretty bad, unfortunately. Isn't that always a thing with mail-in votes, Diego, that dead people vote? I imagine, in all honesty, Ukraine used the same filters as the Soviet Union, aka Russia, mid-90s. So I'd say probably don't use a mid-90s Ukrainian filter. I just don't think they changed tooling to anything that quickly. Yeah, I mean, that's the false economy of a Marcus, isn't it, in a lot of Western countries, that if you buy a GP5 while the mask is cheap, you're going to struggle to find well-priced good filters for it. Moustache, error 404, but thank you. I need to trim it a bit again because it's developing its fangs about there, but yeah, otherwise it's all right. Comrade. I reckon it's definitely Joshua going to go on longer than they say. I've said it in a video. I think it's a video that comes out Sunday this week, or technically next week, where I've talked about my predictions for this lockdown. But my thoughts are they're either going to drag it on longer, or they're literally going to take it away like the week of Christmas to put it back on. Ewan says, what's your opinion on schools staying open in the UK? Personally, I think it's dumb to have a lockdown with schools open. Maybe I think kids' education is important, but at the same time, yeah, the R rate isn't going to go down massively if you leave the schools open. Bear in mind, with the first lockdown, we had a lockdown for like 3 months to get the R rate down a bit. At the moment, it looks like we're going to have a minor lockdown for a month, apparently. And I bet, yeah, we're not going to get the rate down at all. The masks themselves don't, Salty Tide. It's just you don't want to breathe through the filters that come with them. Oh, I'll have a look. Thank you, Richtoff and Crazy, in a bit. Like I said, at the moment, I'm trying to save my money and not spend on anything like that. But if it's a genuine old Pasca, I'd be interested in it just for the historical value of it. Right, I'll just give a shout out to this because I love to shill my stuff. If you want to join memberships, like certain people in the chat, you can see the members icons next to them. You click below and there's a join membership thing. It's £2, $2 a month. If you don't want to do that, you can super chat or give me money on Patreon. Or you don't have to do any of that at all. I thought I'd just mention it just in case anybody does it. No, I have no idea about the amount of testing in Slovakia, but I know in a lot of countries now the numbers are just going crazy. Like in the UK, apparently yesterday we had our worst amount of days for deaths since, I think, April or May, which is pretty frightening considering how much worse it technically was meant to be then. Yeah, thanks, Chris. Yeah, I'll do a members-only stream tomorrow, I reckon. I would have done a members-only stream yesterday, and then I just ended up being really tired because of the US election and all the other bullshit going on. Well, I'd say probably Troy, one of the nations that won World War One. Although I'd say Switzerland, even though they didn't get involved. But I wouldn't really say Germany, Britain, or France because they all lost shitloads of men and, money from fighting a pointless war. I suppose the Americans did all right because they joined late, but, the Russians certainly did very badly in World War One. I think it was over $100, Planet Sog. Because I think the first stream raised between... I don't think the first stream was still showing up on it. So I think it was about $140. it was, I'd say, between $100 and $140 from what I could tell from looking at the stuff afterwards. If I, for example, go on my dashboard on YouTube, if I go on monetization, I go on giving and look up the fundraisers. If I go on the fundraiser for disabled American veterans, it's at $235. So yeah, I'd say about $140. It might be a bit less than that, because I know the one I did with Duke and bots, that raised close to $100. So, and I know I did one before that raised a bit of money for him. So I'd say between $100 and $140, but it's hard to say. Oh, it was $140, was it, approximately, Mike? So you literally got investigated by radiation monitoring people, Radiac Maniac. Did you just bury your stuff in your garden beforehand? Because I'm sure they didn't dig up your garden, did they, to check where your radioactive materials were? But as said, if the law in Canada is you can't own that shit, don't own that shit, you know. It might be, Mike, that after like 28 days it stopped showing some of the streams. I don't know. Because then the total would add up to more than what it shows. But yeah, it was a good amount of money for charity, wasn't it? Regardless, that's a good thing. You have to ask Russian Rooster. You have to ask Bots and Duke when they'd be willing to do another one. But Marcus, you know he likes radioactive items. Well, apparently he didn't know the laws of owning certain radioactive items in Canada. So apparently he owned a lot of stuff he shouldn't have, and because he put videos of it online, the people who are in charge of like atomic waste weren't very happy. You know, that's why obviously I know with my British stuff, like where I've had the police called on me and they've been like, yeah, fine, everything I own is legal because I don't do anything stupid with it. It just sits in the safe and I'm not using it. Yeah, I don't know if there'd be anything worth buying on a Black Friday. I mean, I'm sure Amazon will do a Black Friday because Amazon's making a mint from this, aren't they? Like the lockdowns, but regular stores probably won't have a Black Friday if they're closed. Yeah, see, this is the problem. When you've got YouTube videos on there, you're going to have literal dickheads who report you for the fact that you've made a video on something. But yeah, you know, that's the problem with putting videos up online, is sad people report you for stuff. Crisps with a H, I don't know what that is. If you mean crisps as in crisps in the UK, which Yanks called chips. Maybe McCoy's ribbed sweet chili. That's a pretty damn good one. Flazzy's got a good shout there. Chicken and Time sensations. There are a lot of good sensations ones, aren't they? I've already answered you, I'm Alfie. I've said kids' education is important, but it's going to be a super spreading location for you know, the amount of people or kids spreading it to teachers and then their families. I've not seen skips in years, Joseph saying that. Whatsits and quavers I still see. Skips, not really. I know it does Nerd Central, but they are a crisp and they're very nice. Nice even. What do you mean YouTube, Axel? On a couple of videos, mostly not. My dad, Chris, likes putting crisps in a sandwich with tomato ketchup. that counts as a sandwich for him. Well, my PC isn't like a standard PC. It's a custom built one, technically. It's got what's the bloody name of the AMD processors? A Ryzen 3900X, and then it's like a Ryzen, is it 5700 XT? The name of this GPU? I can't remember. But basically, when I had it built, it was, the kind of best components at the time, and like all that stuff. A couple of months later, it's pretty obsolete. Yeah, exactly, Joshua. Lots of the rules don't make any sense, do they? It's still a good CPU, Marcus, but I mean, by like 2 months later, the next generation of those, well, not the next generation, but was it the 3950 had come out? But you know what I mean. Like the point was that with all PC components, whenever you buy stuff, it's not long before a higher up model of the same stuff comes out. All right, so now people are arguing about having sandwiches with sauces in them. Right, so probably Clear Sky, but the only Stalker faction patches I ever bought were the Duty ones. Not Duty, sorry, Freedom. Just because I liked having Flecktarn aesthetic with a Freedom patch. Or as in regular, as in cups of tea. Yes, I drink coffee more often, but I do like tea. Oh, there goes the ROC bunker. Right, cool, but don't use the old filter with it. I don't know why the same person got timed out several times, but okay. Well, yeah, that's German Flecktarn, because in Stalker, all the Freedom guys are wearing Flecktarn camo. So when I got a Flecktarn helmet cover, I bought a Duty, not I keep saying Duty, bought a Freedom patch to stick on it. So if I'm wearing a helmet with a cover, I've got the Freedoms. Do my best, Richard Nixon. All right. I'm not a crook. That's probably not very good, Richard Nixon, is it? Black Dynamite. I have a perfectly reasonable explanation for Showtime, motherfucker. Has everybody seen Black Dynamite? I've not watched that in years. I need to watch Black Dynamite. That's a good fun film. In Stalker, it's definitely Flecktarn if you look at the dots, and I think in some of the game files it has Flecktarn written down. Delusional. That's what I'm saying. In Stalker, if you look at the game files, I'm pretty sure it's referred to as Flecktarn. Hang on a second. Let's get a picture up. They're meant to be wearing NATO equipment, so I'm pretty certain it's going to be Flecktarn. Right, let's get an image up in large resolution. Right, here we go. Yeah, that is definitely Flecktarn if you look at the color pattern and the dot pattern. Yeah, that's Flecktarn. I mean, the only thing is it's the cooler old Flecktarn where the red is more orange, like the brown is more of a red orange and the greens are more vibrant. But yeah, that's definitely Flecktarn. No, right, and Mouse. I don't know why you said your name twice, but my prediction is it's going to go on longer than 4 weeks. I've recommended filters before, Only Gamers TV, but either Polish P5 filters, I'll say P5, not the FP5, because it's too hard to get actual FP5s that are guaranteed to be GOST threaded. The Czech type of filter, what they called? Oh, what's the name of that Czech brand of filter? AVEC, is it? AVEC, AVEC. AVEC GOST filters, modern Russian GOST filters such as DOT or Zelensky filters, or modern Chinese filters that are any good. That sounds good, Peach. But yeah, you need more gas then. Mike's Bowie sword was good, wasn't it? Or big Bowie knife, Bill Hook Bowie. Very nice, Marcus. Has it come yet? Or are you waiting for it? Very nice. Very, very hot. Is it very spicy? Can you check the liners inside them, Jonas? I would say both of them are going to be pretty similar, assuming the liner is intact inside. Then it's going to come down to preference. I think the East German one would still offer slightly better protection, but bear in mind, the East German helmet's a lot bulkier. It sticks out like that, not like that. So if they're the same price and the liners are good condition of both, can you try both on and see which you prefer? On paper, I'd say the East German is better, but in terms of what I'd rather wear, probably the Yugoslav one, I said, just because it's a more comfortable fit and a better kind of head coverage for the fit. Thank you, Nolan. Well, I was watching, because I watched Borat 2 again. I watched Borat 2 recently, and then I watched the original Borat again. I was going through YouTube and watching loads of the Borat sketches. The one that I find really funny for some reason, I don't know why, is the one where he goes to that bowls club with all the old people. And the guy's saying, that's the, what does he say? That I know he said, like, that's the wood, and that one's, he said it's something, he's like, but when he's, I can't remember what he bloody calls it. Was it the mark or something? He's like, oh, they missed the mark. And he's like, no, it's, it's the ball. And he's like, what? But when he's, wood coming or whatever it is. But yeah, and then when he's in like the toilets, he's going like, "Is this the one you take the shit in?" He's like, "No, it's a urinal." But I thought the best bit was when he was outside of the old people and they're explaining bowls and like, "Oh, it's a good way to meet friends." He's like, "Do you sometimes meet the women here for a sex time?" And it's funny because they're like 70 years old. The one from the film, yes. Yes, General DG, yes. Yorkshire Nerd Central. Yeah, I really like the weapons one, Peach, on the Ali G one. So he's like, so where'd you buy that? And all the stuff like that. That's pretty cool, Joshua. You can get a lot of different national coats, can't you, that have like the little flag on the arm. I think that's more like a NATO thing, isn't it? So you know which country people are from, basically, when they're wandering around a base or something. Yesterday, I'm Alfie, because I haven't heard any fireworks today, but yesterday when I was out, it sounded like more like people rioting and like shooting each other over the election results. Wow, Cam, if you knew on any of the stuff I owned, you'd know the answers to that already. All right, is it you, Al Ryan? Is it? Cheers. I wouldn't know because with a different picture and name, or like because I can't read it, I wouldn't know it was you. So I like Roger Moore. I like Sean Connery. I liked all the Bonds. In all honesty, I don't think there's any Bonds I watch their films and think, oh, I don't like that Bond. Yeah, it's just weird, Spooky. I just don't know why it's been today. Nobody set off fireworks, but maybe everybody where I live bought all their fireworks and set them off yesterday. I don't know, but As I've already said, Signal Sound Milk the stream, if you're listening, P5 filters will be fine because P5 filters are always GOS, from what I understand. FP5s are the ones where sometimes they're GOS, sometimes they're NATO. So if it's a properly P5 labeled filter, I'd just go for it. But if it's an FP5, that's when I'd be more like, I'm not sure. Because while I used to recommend them, because half my FP5s are GOS threaded and half aren't, I really don't know if to recommend them or not. Probably not, in all honesty, especially if you can find better filters for the price. What is best gas mask? Pretty hard question to answer because it comes down to personal opinion and how much money you're willing to spend. The world's cheapest gas mask. Well, bear in mind, there was before Corona, right? you could go on AliExpress. I'm sure you can find a gas mask that is utter shit for really cheap on AliExpress. If you wanted to buy an old surplus gas mask, maybe Polish MC1s or Czech CM3s in the UK currently. Right, error 404. I won't list every country I've visited before because I've done that on other streams, and it's a bit like doing the Animaniacs Song of the World, but probably is confined to Europe, really, in all honesty. I'd really like to visit America, but I've not been to America. But, go to one of the very pro-gun states in America for holiday. Hope I get to shoot guns on a range as opposed to being shot by a random person. But yeah, that'd be good. And America, Tyrek, I've just answered you. But in one of the cold states, just because I like the cold, not the, warm. I think it would really depend where it is. Like, let's say Chernobyl happened again, like an accident on the scale of Chernobyl, as in a reactor explodes, right? In terms of radiation monitoring equipment and the fact that there's more advances in robotics and stuff like that, it would be better in terms of they'd probably faster know there was a problem, less people would die from radiation exposure. They could use robots. However, here's the problem. When Chernobyl happened, there was lots of people who basically made the ultimate sacrifice to save other people's lives. If something like Chernobyl happened in a lot of countries today, I reckon people would be like, no, I'm not doing that. Fuck that. You can all die of that radiation. I don't know why it has an American accent, but, if a nuclear disaster like Chernobyl happened in Britain, people would be basically just pretending it didn't happen. My favourite parka. It's hard. Does it have to be an exact parka, or can it just be a military coat? I've not heard of those, so I guess not jumping. I know Hiccup 45 smokes some pots when he shoots flower pots, but that's very interesting, Chris. Another very interesting thing of radioactivity, Chris, is that if you're at the North and South Pole, radiation levels are higher because the poles actually deflect radiation away from the Earth. But if you're at the very North and South Pole, how the fields work, you're getting a higher dose of radiation. Yeah, I'm not going to wear the mask. The radioactive fallout isn't real. Going into the fallout shelters is a way of containing you. Yeah, sadly, I could very much see that happening. The ocean's pretty terrifying as well, Nerd Central, in the same way as space. I know space is infinitely more infinite than the ocean, but the ocean, the deep, deep ocean, still has some creepy shit in it. Siberian Scientist. The best communist era one is probably that one with the windscreen wiper on the front, that industrial one. I can't remember its name, but as Marcus says, the MP4, MP4B are probably technically the best ones in terms of build quality. Anglerfish, other really just creepy things that can kill you. Thank you very much, Mahalia, if I'm saying your name right. I've been watching you for some time. I appreciate the information you share and professionalism with which you make your videos. Keep it up. Thank you very much. What currency is RSD out of interest? I'm sure I can Google RSD currency. Oh, Serbian dinar, is it? Or dinar? Serbian dinar. But thank you very much. I appreciate that. Cheers. Yeah, there's a lot of currencies where I see the things on here and I have to look up what the currency is just because it's not very commonly seen ones. Well, at least not on YouTube streams. So I know there's some countries as well that can't donate to YouTube, can they? You've already got one, Marcus, because you sent it to me and I sent it to you. So I know you've got one. Yeah, Chris, it's the same reason the radiation on the moon is higher as well, because there's no poles to deflect the radiation. So if you go to the moon, you receive about 7 months of background radiation from Earth in one day on the moon. If you can get one for a good price, Cam, yes. If not, then no. That's the same for really any mask. I mean, they're kind of functional, Nerd Central, but in all honesty, camo makes a uniform a lot more useful, doesn't it? Just because you're harder to spot. Like, olive drab and khaki are pretty useful, but, you know, having a good camo pattern on the same style of pocket layout and everything else just makes it more functional. Yeah, well, I can get that, Marcus, but yeah. Oh, he sent me stuff before Only Gamers, and he donates to me, so I'd say probably yes. I certainly think he trusts me enough to do stuff like that. I'm assuming dark multicam cow, is that the one that's meant to be used in different environments, like ones that aren't so arid but maybe a bit more woodlandy? At that point, I don't really know why it would be needed other than like an old woodland BDU style camo. But, you know, I'm sure it's useful for some things, but... no, I've not, Ewan, but that sounds very interesting. Good luck shielding gamma rays from the sun. You're not going to do it. What, the Navy camo, so when they fell overboard, people couldn't rescue them? Yes, that was a thing. What sort of environment are you in, Salty Tide? Because it will basically be a good camo for the daytime, just at night. Because if you have something that doesn't blend in during the daytime, it might look better during the night, but it's not going to work as well as a proper camo. If you're in the woods, probably I'd say just British DPM or like USM 81 woodland, you know, a good classic woodland camo. Because when you have a camo, say, like this, in the dark, that is going to work just as well as, if not better than, the solid colour. But yeah, if it's in the dark, any woodland camo in the woods is going to be fine. What you don't want to do is wear a completely different type of camo, you know. Cheers, Cam. I think with nuclear, there's no point not using nuclear more. I think it's still a good idea to invest in renewables and research renewables. But nuclear is a very green source of energy. It's certainly a lot better than coal and a lot of like other sorts of liquid fuel. Especially if there's a lot more research done into recycling nuclear waste, you know, so nuclear waste can keep being used indefinitely or for other purposes. Yeah, hydro's good, but again, you need a dam or somewhere to build hydro, don't you, or a river. The idea of nuclear is you can pretty much build it anywhere. But, you know, lots of power sources are good, but it's using them to their strengths, not saying we're going to use this power source just because I'm a fan of it, you know. Condition what, Philip? Sorry, if you made a previous comment, I didn't see it. Oh. If you're on about using silicon lubricant on a GP5, other people have told me it's a bad thing to do, but I've never had any issue cleaning up Soviet Masters silicon lubricant. No, I haven't. Can you explain it quickly, Lauritis or Laurautis? Sorry, however your name's pronounced. I've not heard of any COVID mutation stuff. I know obviously a lot of countries aren't doing very well, especially including the UK with controlling corona at the moment. I mean, if oh, never mind, he's been hidden. I was going to say, make something very simple and then have valves done properly for it. That's certainly not a good thing, is it, if the vaccine's even less likely to work when we get one? This is like a nightmare that's never going to end. What's the thing with minks? Let me Google mink. Denmark to cull up to 17 million mink amid coronavirus fears. Denmark will cull all its minks. That's not good. after a mutated form of coronavirus that can spread to humans was found on a mink farm. Well, I can understand why they don't want a version of corona to spread from humans from minks, but exterminating an animal because of that, maybe just don't go near the minks, I don't know. Or are these ones in farms? But I'm not really pro farming of animals anyway. But so there's guys in like hazmat gear on a farm with dead minks. So people are pro fur trade aren't happy because the minks are going to be destroyed without the fur being harvested for fucking coats and bags. And critics aren't happy because, it's a waste of life, basically. That's just another bit of depressing news, isn't it? 2020's shit, but 2021 will be worse. Because they were more breathable, spooky, so they were lighter weight and more comfortable to wear. But, if you wanted one for just durability and long-term use, you'd want a big rubberized NBC suit. Well, Sheep Strangler, lockdown started today. My granddad is in my care bubble, however you want to say it. So I went down to my granddad's with my mum today because my granddad had to have, like, a carer person sort of around who was, like, doing stuff to help him with, like, hearing aid type things, like hearing aid loops or whatever they were. And I was up on my granddad's roof again because his roof leaks, like filling in bits of the roof, which is like a never-ending job because basically every week I get enough time to do some of it, but not all of it. So yeah, basically today I was mostly helping my granddad do shopping and, like my mum was there while the person was there talking to him about hearing aid loops and all that sort of stuff. Yesterday, before the lockdown began, I was driving one of my friends down to live with his girlfriend so he could take all his luggage and a load of shopping down there. But yeah, other than that, I won't be doing very much because lockdown started now. So technically, I'm not allowed to go to work. There's lots of things I'm not allowed to do. So I'll be sat around at home doing fuck all other than when I'm outside to do exercise or essential shopping. That would be it. Ticks are horrible things, Salty Tide. Get the pesticide out, I'd say. But, I can't really say much because you can get Lyme disease from ticks in the UK, but thankfully, I'm yet to be bitten by a tick. But what I do is I just spray my trousers I wear outside for like going on hikes in the woods and things like that with, insecticide, pesticide stuff. So when you're walking around, if a tick tried to get on your trousers and bite through it, it dies because you've basically nerve gassed it. Good idea, Nerd Central. Replaying Stalker again is a good idea. There was a big update to Terminator Resistance today where they added a thing where you get to play as a Terminator. So I started playing that earlier. That was good. Right. How it works, AK-47, at the moment, if you were in a job you're not allowed to do because of coronavirus, because of government lockdowns, the government has to pay your wages. So basically 80% of my wages anyway will be paid by the government for as long as we're in lockdown. So that's the good bit. The bad bit is long-term economic damage to the economy because money ain't free. And the other problem is lots of people, like from last lockdown, and it will only be worse after this lockdown, will find out they don't have a job to go back to when the free money ends. So basically what will happen is furlough ends, you're told to go back to work, but then the company says, because we've been paying rents and other expenses out during the coronavirus lockdown period, sorry, you don't have a job to come back to. So good in the short run for me, maybe, not in the long run. Yeah, there were loads of jobs AK-47 lost after the first UK national lockdown, and now we're going into another one just in front of Christmas because of the rate, so it's not going to be good. Yeah, Chris, unfortunately, I don't think the money printer can indefinitely go brrr. I just don't think that works. Yeah, Philip, again, long term, it's not a good thing, is it? You want people just to have jobs and be able to spend their money and keep an economy functioning. Hopefully, Justin Vapor, maybe by that point, we have some benign aliens come to Earth who cure all diseases and everything and bring alien space drugs to Earth to play about with. Yeah, Chris, just living it like a hobo seems a good investment the way it's going at the moment. What's been worse about it, Owen? I mean, I'm sorry to hear it's been bad, but what's been worse about your second one than the first one? Is there been more things closed, or is it just that everything's just getting bleaker and bleaker with it being winter and everything else? I'll be off in a few minutes. It's been a good stream. Thank you anybody that donated or joined up to the members as well. Let me look up UK debt, Owen, and I'll tell you. I thought it was over 1 billion or trillion, wasn't it? From the 19th of June, the UK's debt was bigger than the entire economy, which was 55.2 billion. So I'm sure it's only got worse since then. Yeah, well, as weird inductive tea cake as the Mark Drakeford thing of closing off essential aisles in or non-essential aisles in supermarkets was, of, you can't buy clothes but you can buy beer, that kind of thing. In terms of going in for a lockdown earlier for a shorter period, I think that was a sensible thing to do, because if you know you're inevitably going to have a lockdown, you might as well have a shorter one earlier than kick the can down the road and then have to have a longer one, which ultimately fucks people over more. Because you really don't want a lockdown going into December, because so many businesses rely on December revenue to make up like 6 months of the year or so's worth of revenue. Maybe in a very long time only Gamer TV. Let's look at 100k first, which will be in the next few months, hopefully. Yugo ones aren't very good era then. The old Yugo M1s are pretty crap. Yugo or Serbian M2s are alright. Serbian M3s are very good. But Yugo M1s aren't very good M9 clones, and they mount. You'd hope so, Chris, wouldn't you? But sadly, I think some people go the opposite way. What I've got coming in the post soon is a dash cam, weirdly enough, because I had somebody nearly hit my car yesterday, and then I thought, I need to buy a fucking dash cam, because I'm not losing 6 years no claims because some twat can't drive. So yeah, I've got a dash cam coming in the post. That's all I can think of at the moment, other than things that might be coming in like a month's time. If I get the dash cam, though, if I ever see anything spooky while I'm out driving at night, I can at least put a video up of it. All right, Mike, if you're not on Twitch tonight, see you whenever you're on. I'll watch a film or play some games tonight or whatever. Sadly, I don't have any Albanian weapons. Do I own anything that's Albanian? I've got an Albanian mug in the kitchen that says Albania on it. Do I have any Albanian gas masks or military hardware? Sadly, not as far as I'm aware. If I do gaming streams, I'll be on YouTube, not Twitch. I don't have a Twitch account to stream videos. I just sometimes watch other people on Twitch. Yeah, Mike, well, it's not like I'll be at work at the weekend or anything. If you're on any evening at the moment, we're all locked down, aren't we? So I might be around if I've not drunken myself into a coma at that point. The thing is, Joshua, I don't see how they're getting advantage from coronavirus. It's fucking destroying them. In terms of they can act like cunts because of it, but it's just handing Labour loads and loads of free votes essentially when a new election comes. Because it's hard to explain, but basically Boris's handling of Corona has been so shit. I don't think it's going to do anything good for the Tories. I mean, if you said about dangerous precedents for government taking more power and locking people down, maybe Corona's given them that. I'd say it probably has. Suspension of democracy essentially because of a panic, but in terms of making the Tories look good, definitely not. Yeah, then I suppose, Fuzzy, I'd be the best prime minister. Nobody does prime ministers like me, gotta tell you. But yeah, right, so stay tuned for the US election, because I have no idea what's going to go on with that. I expect Biden will win at this point, but keep watching that, I guess. That would be good. Peach, using how to use a forklift for work. Are you still classed as essential, even though, from what I understand, a job is an essential job, but, company saying, oh, my job's essential. Yeah, Husker, that's why I was advising people before the virus to start buying masks. Not because I was, particularly clever about it. I just thought probably best to get a mask before a virus comes around. And then, of course, people went, oh, a virus, let's up the price of masks. Yeah, it's going to be a nightmare, Jacob. If at the point the Supreme Court says there's got to be a recount and you can put bets on it again, I'll probably bet for Trump at that point. But up until that point, I'll just leave a small bet on Biden, I reckon, because you can still put bets on Biden at the moment. You just get fuck all back for them. Oh, if you didn't hear inductive tea cake, the good thing was I was able to get most of the money back from that, because when it Wednesday morning, when things started going a bit funny, you could still cash the bets out. And at one point, my bet had gone up to 45 quid, so I should have cashed it out then. But later on in the day, it basically went back to the price of the original bet, and then there's been dropping since, so I just cashed it out then. So, I at least got most of the money back for it, but I just wish it wasn't dragging on for so long. Because in all honesty, I'd preferred it if I put my bet on, then Wednesday morning, I knew if I'd made 120 quid, or lost 20 odd quid. But what ended up happening was just, oh, there's the value of your bet. Just going down like that as time went on. But yeah, Marcus, it's just silly, isn't it, all this stuff? Yeah, that's good at less. I guess don't chase your losses. It's good I got something back, but I was hoping that I'd go, "Woo, Trump's won," and look, I've got loads of money to go towards the bunker. But no. Anyway, see you all. I'll go off now. Have a good evening, everybody. Hope you all have a safe night and all that. And I'll be streaming in the week and the following weeks, whatever, generally alternating between members stream one day, public streams like this the other day. So if you're a member, you obviously know you can catch the members streams. Otherwise, see me on these. All right, see everybody. Have a good evening. Goodbye.